Come closer. Let's talk about something very crucial. Have you ever heard about separation anxiety? Now, last week, when you saw the video I shared about why toddlers are a bit clingy, we were wondering, we're talking about different things that can make a toddler clingy, how we stay on our phone and sometimes neglect our toddlers. But have you ever realized that some toddlers will still have what we call the separation anxiety, regardless of whether you are there for them or not? So today we're going to be addressing that particular topic, separation anxiety. And it was not until I wanted to record this video myself that I realized I also have exhibited some attitude of what would be termed as a separation anxiety. It doesn't really mean that it is a problem, because everyone in one way or the other have exhibited that, whether as an adult or as a child. But mostly adults who exhibit it must have exhibited it during childhood, and it crept into their adult age, and now they are now exhibiting that even in their lives. And we all have it in one way or the other, but it becomes a problem when it becomes a disorder that is called separation anxiety disorder. However, you can deal with it for your kids if they are exhibiting separation anxiety, where they are very clingy and they are following you around the house without letting you go. How do you manage it? Because most of the time children are exhibiting separation anxiety because of what we already talked about, the insecure attachment, because they are afraid that they will lose you. And so most of the time when a child is exhibiting that, there must have been a case where there was no consistent pattern of saying goodbye. And also there must have been a time where the child was lied to that they were coming. Remember that? Can you remember that ad that Fidelity did sometime back, I think about 3-5 years ago? Fidelity did an ad of a child whose father said, "Oh, go and bring your shoes and join me," when the father was trying to go out, and the child asked, "Oh, can I come?" We say, "Yes, go and bring your shoe." And by the time the child came back, the child didn't see the father. She was now sad, and then the father came back, said, "I will never leave you, I will always be there for you." And that was Fidelity trying to do an advert, right? But don't ever try and tell a child that you're going to do something or you're going to be there and leave them hanging. I remember growing up, we used to have loads of adults do that to us, whether it was our parents, our cousins, that were our older cousins, our caregivers would tell us, "Oh, go and bring your shoe." They are going out and we don't want them to leave us. We want to go with them. And they say, "Oh yeah, go and bring your slippers." By the time you come back, they are not there. So that is something that can create a separation anxiety in your child, and it seems really harmless, but it becomes extreme when your child grows up and starts being anxious about losing someone, the fear, and then sometimes, most of the time, it becomes very extreme, and the child now sees a lot of nightmares. They are so fearful. I find myself being fearful of losing a loved one, but it's not of the extreme, because everybody have that one way or the other. But when it becomes an anxiety disorder, a separation anxiety disorder, is when you find that is affecting their regular productivity. That's mostly in adults, but for children, they are so clingy, and they sometimes even exhibit physical symptoms like chest pain, headache, stomach pain, vomiting, and all of that. So when you notice that it has become extreme, then you must seek help, and you can seek help by asking other people who have dealt with it to help you, how they navigated that journey. So there is something as separation anxiety disorder. There is separation anxiety and there is separation anxiety disorder. We all have, remember, if you don't take anything away from this video, we all have separation anxiety in one way or the other, but we don't all have separation anxiety disorder. It has its presentations, and it's the extreme form of separation anxiety, and it can be found in both children and in adults. The way to prevent it creeping into the adult age is to make sure that you are there for your child in a healthy way, and let them be attached to you, where they can trust that when you leave, you are definitely going to come back, because you've created a routine of how you say goodbyes. They know that, oh, when my father or my mother says goodbye, they are definitely going to come back. And you've also been able to keep to your words of when you said they should go and bring their slippers, and they go and bring their slippers or their shoes, and you take them out. So make sure you keep to your words. It's the same thing with when you say, "Oh, don't threaten a child that you're going to hit them," and I'm not saying that you should hit a child, but don't threaten to hit. Make sure that whatever it is that you're saying, you mean it, so that the child can trust you. And so most of the time in parenting, routines are very important. Create a routine around separating time. Let them know that it's part of life, and let them, be prepared for it in the attitude through which you do it. Reassure, show love. Don't be angry and feisty about it and say, come on, get out of here, I'm going out, what's wrong with you, behave yourself. We're always very angry. Meanwhile, the child is trying to, it's a developmental stage of a child's life. A child is trying to, create that secure attachment around you, and then you're shouting and hitting the child around instead of you to find that time to reassure. You can still leave even the child is crying, but you have done your part. You've reassured, you've created. The child can cry at that time, but the next time he will cry again. The third time he might not cry, because he knows that you will come back. When you come back, you come for them. They trust it. It now forms a form of secure attachment. That way, you will not have the child creeping into what we call separation anxiety disorder. So have you found this video useful? I know that it is kind of a very simple technique to use in separation anxiety disorder. Is quite simple. However, we must pay attention to the fact that the role of routine in parenting is very important, and the role of avoiding very strict critical parenting is very important, because you are creating a room for your child. Because research has shown that children who experience very strict disciplining and critical parenting were most likely to suffer separation anxiety disorders. So, and also you are creating a room for your child to want to think that there's something wrong and want to be attached to you more when you are critical. So you must find a way to be emotionally matured and find emotional mastery in your method of parenting. It's difficult, don't get it twisted. It is difficult to parent toddlers, parent babies, because they're demanding, they require a lot of time. But you can do it when you start building routines and doing it one day at a time. You do today, tomorrow you try again the next day. Each day you keep going. Before you know, it becomes a routine. Your child starts experiencing what we call emotional stability on all fronts, and that way you are able to create a secure attachment for your child to you without having to feel stressed on your parenting journey and your motherhood journey. If you have found this video useful, remember to click the share button. If you're watching on YouTube, go to the description to be able to see what the title of this video is going to direct you into, and also to see the link for you to use to get some of our parenting resources, to get any of our products or resources that you might need to find it useful on your motherhood and your parenting journey. Remember to follow us across all our social media platforms, especially on Instagram and on LinkedIn. I will see you on the next. Remember, whatever happens at conception has the ability to last forever. My name is Edidion. I'll see you on the next. Bye.